Hey Mark, why are you leaving this place? You're super comfortable here, and it's beautiful. You can do all your weird stretch things in the middle of the day. Stretch. And if you want, you can start breakdancing too. And here you are now, all the way in Dubai, which is quite literally halfway across the world. Why? Before I get started, I'd just like to say there's nothing necessarily wrong about Perth. Perth is great. It's just that in this point of my life, I can't justify staying, though that's not necessarily going to be the same for everyone. And with that out of the way, onto the video. At number 5, you're under 30 years old. Have you ever met someone young from Japan? Norway? Or how about Italy? And have you ever heard them mention the work holiday visa? Essentially that means they have access to Australia for either 1 or 2 years and are eligible to work. Thing is, for residents of other countries to get work holiday visas in Australia, Australian residents get work holiday visas in other countries. This is like a giant privilege. This reason in itself is a giant opportunity that I feel like I have to take, or like maybe you should take, because it's time-based, it's geographically country sensitive. If you don't take the opportunity before your 30s, it literally goes away. TLDR, just this one point I think is a really good reason to leave Perth. At number 4, you're afraid to be alone. So when you live abroad, you start off alone, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because you have so much time dedicated to yourself, there's opportunities to find more who you are. What I mean by that is when you're living in Perth for so long, a community can surround you, and that's great. But at the same time, your environment always shapes who you are. And so you are one person in Perth. But then if you go to a new place, it forces you to change. And when you're forced to change because of the environment around you, I feel as though it's almost like a filtering process, and that every giant shift that you make in your life filters you to become more of the essence of who you really are. And that discovery process, I think, is really nice. At number 3, you grew up in Perth. If one has grown up in Perth and has never left for an extended amount of time, I think leaving is a huge opportunity for some growth. Just by virtue of being something different, you're forced to adapt. The foods might be different. There might even be a new language. There will be elements of culture shock. What if there's no expats and only local? The way you interact with people will be changed forever. In addition, you'll have to learn to make friends without the anchor of a school or a university. Learning to make friends without those two anchors can be super helpful because it helps you understand what makes you, you. I think these new changes can be terrifying, but the more you do it, the more bold and the more brave you can become. And from that, your personal and professional network will expand. At number 2, you learn a lot. One of the criteria for knowing for myself how much I have learned is that if I start thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much I don't know, whilst at the same time acquiring new knowledge, that's a sure indicator that my experience is growing. By living abroad, you realize that no matter how much you learn or how much you see, there's always so much more. That with every new destination discovered, there's 12 new places you've just heard about. And that with every piece of new knowledge obtained, you become more aware of what you don't know. Sometimes one realizes that what you thought was unique to home is universal, and what you thought was universal is often just specific to home. But it really all enforces the idea that as humans, we are by and large the same, with the same needs, the same desires, and the same awful biases we put against each other. At number 1, recognizing the things that matter. At the end of your trip, you can really make a good analysis of your life in the foreign country versus your life back home. By removing yourself from the city, you can more objectively analyze emotionally how you are in your own city. And this is really cool because it's kind of like how other people come to you with like asking for like relationship advice, and sometimes it's so easy to see like what things are really stupid and what could be changed. But when you're inside that bubble, it's kind of hard to detach yourself and see those things for yourself. By distancing yourself, you'll realize what you really do miss and some things that you don't miss at all and are actually really toxic for you. By moving abroad, you gain perspective. It's like looking at past you with the new lens gained by the experience of living in a new city and in a new culture. That experience is unique to everyone and is priceless. Hey, thanks for watching, guys. I spent a while trying to make this video. If you liked it, I would really appreciate a sub or like or comment. If not, whatever, dislike it. But yeah, I hope you have a lovely day. Ciao.